So I want to emphasize, right, that under our present world system, right, we have unrestricted military spending for missiles and weapons buildup under the private control of each nation, right? No one has, there's no authority to deal with that. The planetary atmosphere, the planetary hydrosphere, the forests producing the O2 that we all need, and so on, are all under the control, private control of each nation. And this is also true of the UN system, which is predicated on the system of sovereign nations. The UN Sustainable Goals, which I've written about, I've got a whole chapter on them in my new book that's coming out in January. The UN Sustainable Goals, in their introduction that has been signed by most of the nations in the world, number 18, they say, we affirm that every state has and shall freely exercise full permanent sovereignty over all its wealth, natural resources, and economic activity. That means that under the Sustainable Development Goals, Brazil has the legal right to destroy the lungs of the earth, right? The lungs of the earth reside in Brazil. They have, but under the UN system and under the system of sovereign nations, Brazil owns the lungs of the earth. They can destroy it, right? That means, as we're all in the example we're all familiar with, that the United States can withdraw from the Paris Climate Treaty because it's a sovereign nation. Nothing is binding, right? That it has the legal right to do that. And so on and so on. So the Earth Constitution, under Article 4, as you can see, gives the Earth Federation government, that is the people of Earth, sovereignty over the vital resources that are necessary for human survival, over the oceans, over the hydrosphere of the Earth, over the atmosphere of the Earth. So amazingly enough, if this movement, as Bob pointed out, goes way back to the 1958, WCPA was founded. In 1968, they organized an international meeting that took place in Interlaken, Switzerland. This is a photo of it here on the right. And they got together and they decided we needed to write a constitution for the earth. And they elected a drafting committee of some 25 people and gave them directions on how to write it. And so the drafting committee went to work, and by 9 years later, they had a draft that they had circulated widely among the people from 1968, lots of feedback, and they went over that draft paragraph by paragraph in Innsbruck, Austria in 1977. They met again in Colombo, Sri Lanka, 1979. We call these the constituent assemblies for the Earth Constitution. And then finally, they met in Troia, Portugal, 1991. They made a number of small changes in wording, and they decided that it was finished, it was final, that the Earth did not have the time, did not have the freedom to work some, for a long time to get something, because they understood the planetary crisis. If you look at their literature, it's amazing. They understand the collapse of the environment in the 1980s and 90s. They understand the threat of nuclear weapons. So under the beginning, the first draft on the second Constituent Assembly, which took place in 1977, the Constitution empowers us as human beings to create provisional world government, to start it. We don't have to wait until some future date when the whole thing is ratified. We can start doing it now. So you can see on the left here that there have been 14 sessions of the Provisional World Parliament, from the first one in Brighton, England, 1982, to the most recent one, Kolkata, India, in 2015. And here's a photo of the head table from the 11th session of the Parliament.